name's Steve Govey. I'm a partner here at Mazars, and it's my pleasure to introduce this evening's seminar. Why do it at all? Why consider international expansion? There's no growth here, is there? So perhaps we ought to be looking at foreign markets abroad, look at the BRIC countries, whereas as opposed to the 1% or so forecast here, we're looking at up to 8% growth abroad.
If you're looking at your business and thinking of expanding internationally, I think the first most important step is how much of the UK market do you already have? If you haven't quite got a footprint of your domestic market, then what makes you think that the international market would be any easier? Key for me is international expansion. I think is a great way of growing your business. It's a great way of building the business, but I think it comes with its challenges because Australia's culture is very much lifestyle. So most of the people there who run businesses, they finish work at 6 and they're off to the beach, or they have a great outdoor working life. And we found it quite difficult because in the UK, if we had a business that was growing 20-30% a year, you could write a business plan, show and forecast growth and motivate management to do that. In Australia, they looked at me and said, no, I don't think so. Getting in is always easy. Getting out is always a bit more challenging. But one factor that was the single factor that we probably got wrong more often than not, it was by thinking that we could export our culture into other markets, which frankly doesn't always work. Is it time for a little bit of socialising and a bit of networking? On that note, thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the evening.
Economic growth of a country. If economic growth is pushing forward, then the expectation is that inflation is likely to appreciate as well and go up, and therefore feeding back into interest rate expectations to bring that inflation back down in line, and once again the currency will appreciate.
And then I look at some data coming out of the United States, for instance, and the actual data itself is negative, yet the dollar still strengthens. Well, why is that? A lot of my clients ask me this question continuously. Why, if this data is poor, why do we still see dollar strength? A couple of reasons, but I think the main one being it's not always about the figure itself, it's more about what has been priced into the market already. What are people thinking was going to happen, and what's the difference between that as opposed to what it was the month before?
James Caan, what are the key attributes you look for in a company before you make an investment?
The key thing for me when I start is who is the management of that business, because I believe that businesses are not run by products or services, they're run by people. And the drive and passion of a business normally comes from its founder and the people that you're investing in.
What do you value most in a company? Would it be inventiveness or would it be business skills?
What makes the business succeed is the expertise of the entrepreneur that can demonstrate he can execute. Because a great idea with poor execution is no business, because it will never make any money.
It's almost seems sort of discourteous to ask, but everybody also wants to know, okay, let's hear about the worst business.
I bought a business called Benji's, which was a sandwich chain, quite a large business in the UK, about 100 outlets nationally, 600 staff, quite a large operation. And I made a huge mistake because I didn't do proper due diligence. I didn't employ the proper people to conduct the review in the business. I bought the business within a week, saw it on the Monday, bought it on the Friday. I mean, broke every rule in the book and paid very dearly as a result of it. Within 6 months, pretty much lost all my money. So took a massive write down, but it was probably an experience I'll never forget, because I believe that you sometimes learn more from your mistakes than you do your successes.
James Caan, thank you very much for sharing your experience and insight.
Thank you.
We are dealing overseas in a number of countries, and it was very interesting, I thought, in the UK. A lot of the stuff that he said was borne out by my own experience, and he's got vastly more experience than me.
The word that we used was interesting. When he was finished, he said interesting. I thought it was a very useful speech. It's interesting getting thoughts from an entrepreneur such as James about how exactly we can take up opportunities abroad, as well as obviously in the UK. So it's useful for someone with perhaps my limited experience of these kind of matters.